Welcome to Everyday Martial Artist, a weekly podcast where you'll join me, Brian Doucette, as I interview a different martial artist each episode and hear their story. Some guests you may have heard of, and some you probably haven't. Be sure to subscribe where all your favorite podcasts are available. Also visit our website at everydaymartialartist.com. If you're listening for a specific interview, I sure hope you'll stay and check out the other episodes. A very special thank you to Topher Williams for our custom theme music. And now, the newest episode of Everyday Martial Artist. Everyday Martial Artist is brought to you by KOOnline.com for all your martial arts needs. Sparring and safety gear, rank belts, uniforms, weapons, patches, and more. Wholesale supplies made by martial artists for martial artists. Visit us today at KO-online.com. You know, one question I ask every guest on Everyday Martial Artist is about their favorite martial arts book. And there's never been one quite like Martial Theory by Steve Perlman, described as the art of war for the martial arts. Martial Theory helps any martial artist or instructor take their understanding and teaching to the next level. And at martialtheoryU.com, you'll find a global community with instructor groups, Q&A with Steve, live events, and demonstrations to help you apply martial theory directly to your training. It's not just a book, it's a movement. Find Martial Theory on Amazon, and when you join martialtheoryU.com, use discount code EverydayMA for 20% off. That's under $20 a month for life. That's martialtheoryU.com, code EverydayMA. Hello and welcome to Everyday Martial Artist. I'm your host, Brian Doucette, and as we do every week, we're joined by a brand new guest talking about their life and their journey throughout the world of martial arts and other stuff they're involved in. My guest today is a New Zealander-turned-Tokyo local whose journey led her deep into the heart of Japan's traditional martial arts culture. Born in Auckland, she first visited Japan as a university student and was captivated by the country's urban design and public transportation system. That fascination inspired her to complete a master's degree in urban planning and eventually moved to Japan over 22 years ago. She began her life there as an English teacher and soon transitioned into the media world, becoming a TV personality, writer, narrator, and tourism ambassador. For nearly 2 decades, she's appeared on Japanese television, radio, and in print. But it's her devotion to Kyūdō, Japanese archery, that lies in the center of her path, a third dan practitioner in the Heki Ryu Insai tradition. She writes for Kyūdō Nippon and Budo Japan and serves as chief editor for Kyūdō World magazine. Her martial arts journey extends beyond the bow as she also studies naginata, kyujutsu, and sports yabusame, horseback archery, all while balancing life as a wife and mother of 3. Please welcome my guest today, Jess Gerrity. How are you doing today, Jess?
Hi, I am very good. Thank you so much
for
having me on your podcast.
I realize with the time difference, you being in Japan, it's crazy to schedule this, and I appreciate your time and your flexibility.
No problem. I'm excited to be on and discuss martial arts with you.
Nice. And a huge thank you to Tom Callis for putting us in touch with each other, Tom.
Yes.
Great guy, great guest, and he sent me a few good interviews, so I like it. But what we do, I mentioned you've been over there 22 years, but I want to know what led to that first interest in martial arts, kind of where that first spark came from, where your martial arts journey kicked off.
Okay, so the first things first, though. In the introduction, you mentioned Kyoto. It's Kyūdō. So
thank you.
Yes, so Kyūdō is my main martial art. It's the Japanese martial art of archery, Kyūdō. So it sounds very similar to Kyoto.
Okay,
but that's a place name, and it's important not to get those two confused. Anyway, Kyūdō was the first time that I really ever came in contact with martial arts. So I'll kind of just talk about that.
Okay.
If that's okay. I
Definitely.
was walking in a local park with my daughter. And I came across a dojo. So the thing with kyudojos is that the place where the arrow flies is open to the elements, and the matoba, or the target area, is also open. So you can kind of look from the outside in and sort of see people practicing.
Okay.
When I was walking in the park, this park happened to have a kyudojo in it, and I could see people practicing. I didn't know what they were doing at the time, but I could see them using really, really long bows and arrows, and everybody was dressed the same, in the same uniform. And they were everyone was moving really rhythmically and slowly, and it was really relaxing to watch. And I could see how far it was to the target, having everything open one side open where people can see in. It was hugely interesting. And I spent a good probably 20 minutes or more just standing there watching the practice, not really knowing what it was, but sort of looking to see, like, there were women there were men there. And I thought, like, this must be some kind of a martial art that I've never heard of before. I think at the time, this is probably about 15 or maybe about 15 years ago.
Okay.
So that was the first time I kind of ever really came into contact with martial arts of any type. Until then, I had been working in Japan and then, get married, start a family, basically was pregnant and having kids for the large part of my time in Japan, which really, I guess I was really focused on looking after the children and having babies and this kind of thing. So I didn't really have much of even a chance time-wise to start sort of looking at traditional culture and Japanese martial arts at all until this one day where I just happened upon it when we were out for a walk.
Wow. So after seeing that and watching it and taking it in, what was it that made you decide, I want to try this? I want to go and talk about joining this class and talk to the instructor?
Just seeing it was enough. Yeah.
Okay. And did you go talk to him that day or did you come back?
No, because of the way that it was, because of the way that the dojo was set up, you can't go in there and just talk to people.
Oh, okay.
So the doors are shut and they're practicing.
Okay.
And while people are shooting, you're not allowed to call out to them or anything like that.
Okay.
So to those people specifically, I just kind of took it away with me and went back home. 15 years ago, unfortunately, I did have less Japanese than I do now.
Okay.
And I did attempt to research. I was pregnant at the time, though, so I wasn't highly motivated to start a lifelong martial art. Because, if you're pregnant, you can't really do that. So over here, they have quite a lot of. If you're pregnant, there's a lot of rules here.
Okay.
And societal kind of pressures. So starting that sort of thing isn't really, unfortunately, done that very, very much. So I kind of did research. I went to my local city council who just kind of gave me question marks. They were like, we don't know. We're so sorry. We don't know where you can start. And I did look online. But at the time, the place where I live is Saitama. It's north of Tokyo. And Saitama, looking online at their Kyudo Federation information, they didn't have much. And it didn't even explain the system to get started or anything like that. But in the 15 years, since I first saw Kyudo, a lot of things have been changed online. All the different federations have websites and stuff now. Information is all in one place about where all the beginner courses are and this kind of thing. But at the time, there was no information.
Wow.
So I did find out that the name of the martial art was Kyūdō. So I was like, this is really cool. It's very close in sounding to judo.
Okay.
But it's Kyūdō. And Q is the kanji for Yumi or the bow. And Do is obviously the path or the way of, like Kendo, Jukendo, Tankendo, this kind of thing. Do, if there's the kanji for Do, it's just the way of or the martial arts. So it's the way of the Japanese bow, basically.
Okay.
But I did try when I first saw it. However, timing-wise, it wasn't the best, personally. And I just couldn't find any information. However, over the next several years, I have 3 kids. So I kind of about 3 years apart.
Okay.
I spent time, being pregnant, having kids. So I was constantly on the lookout, though, for Kyudo and information pertaining to Kyudo and how I could start.
How long was it then after seeing that first class till you actually got to start training it yourself?
Right. Okay. So it was about eight and a half years.
Wow.
I was on a radio show. I was lucky enough to be on a radio show. And the guy, the personality, the MC.
Yep, the DJ. Yeah.
He, a Japanese guy, he had done Kyudo in University, I think it was.
Okay.
And actually, the Kyudo population in Japan, 71% are students, middle school, high school, university.
Oh, wow.
The larger percentage are young, like very, very young.
Okay.
So many, many people do Kyudo when they're at high school or university, especially. So it's not uncommon to find people that have done it and have a ranking and this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when they become adults, usually they stop. Just due to work pressure and this kind of thing. It's difficult to find time to practice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was like, oh, I used to do Kyudo. I will introduce you to some people who I know that also do Kyudo now, currently as adults.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that would be so awesome. And they came to meet me after the radio show that I was on. We all had ocha. We had our little tea and a little tea break, and I got to meet several people that do Kyudo and hear about their experiences. And one of them said, I live in Saitama, the same region as you. It's a different city, but we're having a beginner's course. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is so cool. So you mean I could probably even start Kyudo if I wanted to? So I got invited to this beginner's course. And in Japan, you have to do the set beginner's course. Mm-hmm. They only do it once a year, usually. Oh, wow. And if you miss the course, you can't just come in and start anytime. You have to be in that limited number of, it's like 15 people.
Wow.
You have to be in there to be able to start. So I was lucky enough to get a little introduction to that. And it was in a different city, but I made it work. And yeah, that was my first foray, and that's how I got started. And since I joined that beginner's course, it's been about 8 years.
Okay, wow. And now, when you continued your training, was it with that same instructor that taught the beginner course, or did you find a different school closer to you?
The person is not technically a sensei; they're a member of the dojo. Yeah, they're a member of the dojo that introduced me, but 25, 26 years experience at the moment. So they're a highly skilled practitioner for sure. They assisted in the beginner's class, but I was taught by different actual ranked sensei, which is really, really good. I did attempt to find a closer course, one more course that started actually after I had done that one. I found very close by me, probably 30 minutes by car. I found another one starting in the autumn. So I started in summer, and then autumn I did the closer by me one, and I just joined that as well.
Okay.
With the goal of joining their dojo. And that was really good.
Have you been with them ever since?
No, I changed dojo. Yeah, so my child was born with a lot of disabilities, my third child. So she can't talk or walk or anything like that.
Okay.
She has to be fed and looked after, this kind of thing. So there was a period of hospitalization during that second beginner's course, and they were upset with me for going. Japanese hospital is weird. You got to stay with your kid if they're, of a certain age, and I had to stay in there with her for several weeks. Mm-hmm. And basically they kind of said, if you're not serious about, I'd finished the course at this time, and I had started to do the application for joining their dojo, this kind of thing. So I was pretty much joined. However, they kind of took it as my non going to practice. They kind of took that as I wasn't serious about my martial art, which I really, really was, but it was family reasons. When I tried to explain it, they just sort of said, you might need to find somewhere else. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Different dojos expect different things, and I understood that. But I eventually found my dojo now after a wonderful introduction via New Zealand Kyudo. I was given a wonderful sensei's name, and he's been my sensei for about 7 years. So the first few months were a little bit bumpy, but very, integral and important in my Kyudo journey. However, once I kind of linked up with my sensei, who I have now, and another dojo in my area, everything's been smooth sailing, I would say. Very, very interesting and fun and enjoyable. Yeah.
And how long did you train there before you started branching out and learning some other martial arts and other styles?
Oh, let me see. So the pandemic happened part of the way through this. Yeah. And basically, coronavirus and the pandemic were a really good chance for me to go out. Dojos were shut. Japan was very, very serious about about the pandemic, because they kind of didn't know anything much about what was happening, and neither did anyone really. But many times the dojos were shut just due to social distancing and this kind of thing. They were closed for several weeks at a time over several periods of the years that the pandemic happened. And the first time that the dojos closed, my dojo that I was learning Kyūdō at, I searched up mounted archery or sports yabusame. And yabusame is using the yumi, the same Kyūdō bow that we use, but on horseback.
Okay.
And I was really lucky to find a martial arts school and horse ranch out in Odawara, which is this part of Japan in Kanagawa. And they use Japanese indigenous horses. So they are called kisouma, the ones that samurai used to ride.
Wow.
With old traditional bagu, which is a horse tack.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn bajutsu, so this art of riding Japanese horse. And it's really, really, really different I've ridden horses in New Zealand since I was small.
I was going to ask that. Okay.
Yeah, very, very, very different, of course. You don't sit in the saddle.
Oh.
The saddle is wooden. The stirrups the stirrups, actually, I have stirrups here, which I can show you, but they're massive and iron, and just the whole equipment, technique, everything is really different, and it's integral to do martial arts, any martial arts on horseback, naginata on horseback, tachi on horseback, yumi on horseback, anything that you want to do on horseback, martial arts related, you have to learn to ride first. So that was an amazing chance for me to start something related, but kind of like off to one side. So related to Kyūdō, but very different. But still within the realm of like what I'm interested in. I love horses and this kind of thing. So, and riding. But that was probably 2020.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, when I started to learn riding and horseback archery.
Okay.
Yeah. And naginata was after the pandemic had finished. I need to search back on when I actually started. But the funny kind of story I have with starting naginata, and the reason why I started naginata was the yumi, when it's unstrung, it's just like a long pole, basically a long stick, 221 centimeters long.
Wow.
So the naginata, when it's bagged up, you have a naginata bag and a yumi bag. You carry them before you start keiko as you're going into your sports gym or your gymnasium. They have different dojos within the gymnasium, and I was going to my Kyūdō practice, and I saw someone that looked like they were carrying a yumi, and of course, aisatsu, which is a greeting, is really important. So I said, "Ohayo gozaimasu," it's like good morning, and they replied back to me, and then I got closer to them and I realized that they were holding naginata, not a yumi. And they look very, very similar.
Okay.
So I asked about it, like, "Oh, is this a naginata?" And they said, "Yeah, this is naginata. We're having practice today." So actually I said, "You know what? I'd be really interested to come and watch your practice if it's okay." And they were like, "Yeah, it should be fine. Come along." So I went after my Kyūdō practice for the day had ended. I came downstairs and they were just finishing up with their naginata practice, but I watched the last probably 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
Then I just joined. So I started. Yeah, because I actually, I missed out one part, but the reason for having this interest in naginata originally, I started this other form of archery in Japan using a hankyu, which is a half-size bow, a smaller bow.
Okay.
Also a yumi, so the asymmetric bow, but a smaller size. And you sit to shoot this hankyu, and it's a type of kyujutsu that started in Miyazaki about 400 years ago. And a very, very old style, a really interesting, with super long arrows, a really interesting style of archery. But this one person who was in my group, in our little team, in our little group doing this style of kyujutsu, she was a naginata sensei. And she would always talk about naginata and how interesting it is, how there are many similarities between the style of kyujutsu that we did and the naginata, like the use of your body. So I had like naginata in my ear, for several years before I decided to take the leap and join. But hearing her positive experiences with naginata, it was always something that I had a very positive image of and I was really interested in. So when I made the mistake of thinking that person was carrying a yumi when they were actually carrying a naginata, I kind of just went with it. I was like, oh, this could be, fate. And yeah, it ended up really, really nice. They let me join and that was really, really interesting. Naginata is so different to anything that I've ever done before. Most of the things I learn are individual. They're you and like a target, or you're by yourself. Horseback, obviously you're with your horse, so it's a little bit different. But naginata, to practice kata together with somebody, it was the first time to do kind of anything like this. So it was a very, very, I realized how uncoordinated I am. I was like, wow, how do you guys learn all these different kata? It's so tricky, all the footwork. You have to have such good coordination. It's very dynamic. And it was just so different. But that difficulty and really difference between Kyūdō and naginata really motivated me to kind of keep going. And it was hugely interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you still study all of those arts? Are you that busy?
Yeah. Yes. This is the reason why when people suggest other things to me, like I'm like, man, with 3 kids at work plus these 5 different things that I learn, it's tricky to start something new. And, with Japanese martial arts and any martial art in general, you really start with the aim of continuing.
Yes.
Obviously, if you have personal reasons and this kind of thing, health, and, there's many reasons people have for not being able to continue, even though they want to. Usually you start out with this mindset of going on kind of forever. So it's a big commitment. However, I want to try other things. And this is the reason why I use my social media and my different platforms that I have. And I try different things, and it may be once or twice, but for the purposes of seeing what it's like and introducing it to other people who I think might be interested. So yeah, that's I do try other things often, much to the annoyance of other people sometimes, but I am kind of full up at the moment in terms of the different arts that I'm seriously practicing.
Yeah. Wow. So how many right now is it 3, 4 that you're currently practicing?
Yeah. So several types of Kyūdō and Shihamato, which is a type of kyujutsu.
Okay.
And horseback archery, which is sports yabusame, and naginata.
Okay.
And in my spare time, which is I study reiho. So bajitsu, which is horsemanship in Japanese horsemanship, and horseback archery, they're different lessons. So I study 2 separate things related to horses. Okay. And also reiho, which is the samurai art of etiquette.
Wow.
So there are several, but
that's a lot.
Yeah. Some of them are very interconnected. Yes. Some of them are very related and within the same umbrella.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are several.
So when you're training in one of the arts that involved horseback, do you use the same horse every time, or is it so you're comfortable with it, or does it change it up? Does that make a difference?
Yeah. So it depends on the horse ranch that I go to. There are a couple. Okay. And which horses are available at that time. Sometimes, I'll be riding a horse who's pregnant. Oh, wow. And she will have a baby fall and be unable to be ridden for a little while she's looking after her baby. So the horse ranch sort of decides the different horses that are being used. They have, depending on the place, about 10 or 12 horses, which are used in rotation. And recently, I used to have group lessons. Recently, I have individual lessons I go during the day when my kids are at school. And yeah, that also changes. The horses that are available, they send horses away for yabusame events. So they'll have big events at temples and shrines and this kind of thing over the weekends, and horses will be unavailable. So yeah, usually different horses. And the instructors are always the same though. They're very wonderful people. And yeah, just usually, probably for the last couple of years, I've just been attending the school in Odawara, which is really amazing. But yeah, the things that I work on, I leave that up to the sensei, and they're going to decide what I'll do for the day.
Yeah.
But having an individual lesson means I can kind of take it at my own pace.
Okay.
But yeah.
Within these styles that you're studying, do any of them have competitions? And if so, have you ever competed?
Yes, competitions are a really big, difficult part
of
my journey. So Kyudo competitions exist, and most hits win. Contrary to stereotype of you don't have to hit the target, you have to hit the target. If you don't hit the target, you're doing something wrong. And Kyudo competitions are wonderful and interesting. However, they're held over the weekend where I have my kids at home, and over the weekend, I help to teach at a dojo every Saturday. And if I don't have those teaching Kyudo sessions, then I'll be doing my naginata practice. So every weekend, usually on a Saturday, oftentimes that's when the competitions for any of the martial arts are happening. I am busy. So, or if it's on a Sunday, I don't have a babysitter and I have kids at home with me. So due to personal reasons, competitions are very difficult for me to enter. Also, shinsa, which are exams, are usually held on weekends too. And in this case, I'll make a special sort of I'll need to pay a babysitter to come, and I'll need to go and take an exam. But exams are infrequent just because of that. It's expensive and takes a lot of time. But yeah, naginata competition, I've never joined one, and I've been offered many, many times. They have them frequently. Kata competition and sparring competition, 2 types. Unfortunately, just due to the timing, I've never been able to go. You have to be there for the whole day, from the morning until the late afternoon when it finishes, which will cost me hundreds of dollars. So I can't afford it.
I get that.
I really want to join competition though. Same with everything. Horseback archery competitions, we have those too. Bajutsu competition, which is the riding. You have to be able to show control. There are exams and competitions as well. There's competitions for everything here in Japan, and they look like so much fun when I see the photos and the videos from the competitions that have happened, with the people in the groups that I'm involved in. Unfortunately, I can't take part and have pretty much never been able to take part other than exams. But it's something that, it's a different feeling. It's a different mental state. It's a different type of pressure. And I really feel like, getting on, especially in Kyudo after 8 years, I really wish I could feel that type of nervousness sometimes to be able to grow a little bit more as a practitioner. I think that part of my experience and my knowledge about how to mentally look after myself during a competition, I'm very, inexperienced, I think, as a practitioner.
You mentioned teaching and helping to teach. Now, is that something that you wanted to do, you look forward to, or is that something that you have to do as part of the training?
Yes. So the dojo, which my senpai, so my elder, and I set up about 6 years ago, that second dojo that I visited, that kind of said, we don't think you're serious about your practice. We think you should look elsewhere. That really caused me to reach out to people to say hey, I'm really want to continue my Kyudo journey, but I'm looking for places. I reached out to the guy who said initially, in Saitama, there's a beginner's course you can join, and his name is Hiro-san. Hiro. And I reached out to him, and he said, hey, let's just start our own Kyudo group. If you don't have anywhere to practice, but you want to continue, let's book a dojo. Let's book a weekend and have a Kyudo practice. And over time, little by little, other people would join and come and try Kyudo too. And over the space of 6 years, we've had thousands of people visit us, and we've become an established kind of a place where people who are there visiting Japan can come and try Kyudo. people who, like me, got asked to leave a dojo and look for somewhere else. They're in between, can we say, transient.
Yep.
And or they just want to have a space where there's not teachers kind of breathing down their neck. They just want to have a little space to try something new, test out new equipment without worrying about other people watching them. There's many reasons why people come and join us. But we book a dojo in Tokyo every Saturday. And my senpai is the one that teaches most of all. I just do kind of teaching support and setup and everything like that. He has a license to teach Kyudo, which is wonderful. So he's very, very highly experienced guy. And I'm just kind of an assistant. And I do all the social media and everything for the dojo.
Okay.
But it's been a really wonderful 6 years. And hopefully we'll be able to continue way into the future. But every weekend is spent for the purposes of other people enjoying and learning about Kyudo.
Nice. So think back to when you first started doing that and started helping to teach. What do you think has changed about your teaching style over these last 6 or 7 years?
I still find it very difficult.
Okay.
Even understanding, Kyudo, unless you've kind of done it yourself, it's a bit tricky to explain.
Mm-hmm.
But I do recurve archery. And I mean, I learned that, in a couple of hours, you're shooting fine. The thing with Kyudo is it's slightly different just due to a lot of different factors, like the equipment being different and the draw length is very, very wide.
Mm-hmm.
You have to draw back behind your ear without being able to see what you're doing. You use a glove, it's thumb drawer. So the arrow is on the opposite side of the bow, this kind of thing. There's a lot of differences. And just in the 6 years that I have been helping at the dojo, I've become a little bit more comfortable with teaching people, but there are some aspects which inside myself I'm still a little bit unsure with, especially body use, because we have a very wide stance. We use our lower body connected to middle and upper body to be able to keep a very strong stance and body kind of foundation while we shoot, which is necessary to be able to draw the bow, because we don't use our fingers and our hands to draw the bow open. We use our back and back of our arms and lower back and stomach and this kind of thing, our core. So having, and kind of as the years go on, my knowledge of how I do Kyudo myself has improved. Therefore, being able to help and assist others in their Kyudo has improved slightly. However, there are still so many areas that I kind of need to experience myself before I can go on to have this total authority on trying to show others how to do things.
Right.
The other thing with Kyudo is that it's very related to the way your skeletal structure is set up. I have very long arms, long fingers, and the way someone who is shorter than me with shorter arms would draw the bow is, again, very different. So telling someone the way you do it will not necessarily mean that they'll be able to do it the same way as you. So this is the one other thing. There's a lot of complexities in teaching. You have to be able to have a lot of knowledge and understanding about other people's skeletal structure and biomechanics before you can confidently go in and say, hey, you're doing this wrong, or do it this way. So I'm still a little bit unsure about giving, corrections on people's form, because my form myself is not perfect, but everybody is very friendly at the dojo, and, people will come and ask me, watch my shooting and tell me what I'm doing wrong. So that's always really nice. But I do always defer to the main instructor, who is Hiro-san. Right. If I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's always good to have a authority of someone who's very experienced.
Definitely.
And but I getting confident little by little. Confidence is up a little by little. Yeah.
So do you think then that teaching others has helped your own technique also? When you break it down and explain it to someone?
So it's a bit difficult to explain, but it's helped my confidence as a Kyudo instructor. But my form is very individual, and for that I have my own sensei who is at my dojo in Saitama. What he teaches me, in a general sense, is what I try to pass on to other people. However, again, each sort of teaching is very individual. The way you grip the bow and this kind of thing depends on your hand shape, your finger size, the width of your bow. It depends on so many different factors that I guess teaching others has really opened my eyes to how complicated and deep the process of teaching Kyudo actually is.
Okay. I love that answer because you're probably out of 250 guests, the first one I've ever talked to that said it didn't actually help their own technique. And that just shows how different the art is compared to what most people consider martial arts when they think about martial arts. I love that. So I'm glad we're having this conversation. That's really cool.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's good.
That's good. That's good. So did I read somewhere that you also, for at least a short time, studied, shuriken jutsu?
Oh, so I went, this is before the Olympic Games were scheduled in Tokyo. So 2019. So we're going back quite far.
Oh, okay.
And I had a chance to visit a place called the Ninja Information Center. And this really wonderful, but it was set up with guys from Iga and Koga, different practitioners. So different sides of, I guess, shinobi, like jutsu. They taught me. I went there and tried it out for the purposes of writing an article to introduce the actual facility in English for people that were interested, just to try while they were visiting Tokyo for the Tokyo Olympics. The problem was that coronavirus happened and the facility that I introduced, basically nobody came to visit it, which is really sad.
Oh, wow.
And it eventually, it's now not, I think it's gone now. But the purpose was so that they could introduce different types of ninja culture and traditional culture to people visiting Japan. So that was my foray into shuriken jutsu. And it was really interesting, though. The actual practical application of throwing was really interesting. So shuriken jutsu was great. I found the bow shuriken very interesting. The way that you have to kind of throw it like it's standing up. And I was just like, that kind of blew my mind. Watching the different instructors throw was hugely interesting. And I did kind of reach out to several people after that, looking for places where I could continue to study. And a lot of them were outside of Saitama. And many different schools. And at the time, I kind of didn't know what is legit and what is kind of like just for fun. And I still, even after studying for a couple of years about different types of, I don't know, can we say ninjutsu or shinobijutsu or weapons? I still don't have a really good answer about that. However, that shuriken, foray into shuriken was just for the purposes of an article, basically. But it really opened my eyes to the, I don't know, it was hugely interesting.
That's cool.
So I was like, wow, I wish things like this were more available to people. As a traditional art. It's very cool. Like very, very, it was just really amazing and interesting. And at the time, I didn't really have much experience in other martial arts other than Kyūdō. So this is just before I started kind of going down the rabbit hole of everything that I started. So it was it was really cool. The senseis we're connected and friendly, and they publish books. They're really wonderful Japanese guys. And it was a really interesting experience.
That is cool. And you mentioned earlier when we were talking that Kyūdō is a lot of them, like 70% are students. So have your kids gotten involved at all?
Oh, so my children don't go to Japanese school.
Okay.
The youngest child does, but she is physically disabled, so impossible for her to do Kyūdō.
Right.
But the other two, I've brought them with me to Budokan. Budokan is like the facility in Japan where there are all the dojos for all different martial arts in one space. So I brought them to a Budokan open day, and they've done Kyūdō. I didn't force them, but they tried, and they were like, yeah, it's cool, it's fun. So it's like, this is what I do. Do you want to try it? Kind of not really like hoping that they'll enjoy it or want to start, but just to give them an idea of what I do, that mom is so crazy about this martial art. And they were like, oh, it's interesting. I did bring them to my Saturday practice a couple of times as well.
Okay.
However, not really that interested at all.
Okay.
But, I started as, I think, a 37-year-old.
Oh, wow.
You can start as an adult as well. So no big deal. But yeah, if they were at Japanese school, they would need to choose a after school or club activity, bukatsu. There's kendo club, naginata club, kyudo club, all different types of club activities for Japanese school. And usually you choose one going from middle school all the way up through to university.
Okay.
And if they had gone to Japanese school, I would say they'd be studying some kind of a martial art right now.
Okay.
My son, though, he does taekwondo.
Oh.
Yeah, so he loves that.
Nice.
And we kind of get into arguments about, it's really funny. Can you guess what we get into arguments about? I really like weapons, weapon-based martial arts.
Yep.
And he is like, nah, man, you got to learn to kick and like, you got to be able to fight without anything. And I was like, yeah. So we get into these, we tease each other about, Mom, you wouldn't be able to defend yourself unless you had a weapon in your head. And I'm just like, oh man,
That's
yeah.
funny.
So that side of it is really interesting, but we do connect on things like what your shihan is saying at the dojo. He told me this today and I'm so happy. Like my son enjoys taekwondo sparring competition.
Nice.
He's been doing competition and grading and he is really passionate about it. So even though it's not Kyūdō, I'm really happy that he's found something that he really loves. That's very similar. Like that passion for something is
Definitely.
just, it's really cool. So watching that, and supporting that from the side and kind of living vicariously through him because taekwondo is something that's interesting for me too, but I've never tried. Also karate. Yeah, non-weapon based martial art would be something that I would love to try in the future, if only once. It would be something that would be really cool. But yeah, family-wise, my husband doesn't study anything and he made fun of me actually for the first time when I started at Kyūdō because the movements are so big and like the release is like really wide and he would kind of like make fun of that. But and my eldest daughter, she doesn't do any martial arts either. However, I still hold out hope.
Yeah. Well, hey, my mom got into martial arts in her 40s and she got her taekwondo black belt in her 40s. So
wow.
So yeah, there's still hope. You can still do it. And you can tell your son I've been at my traditional taekwondo school for 31 years that I've been with my instructor, and we do all kinds of weapons training. We do sword, we do nunchucks, we do bow staff, we do pretty much any weapon you can think of. We train in. So yeah. Tell him he needs to tell his instructor to start teaching weapons.
Yeah, I should. That's so cool though. Yeah,
it is. So obviously one big part of your life too is writing. You've been a writer for a long time, written for magazines. Ever thought of writing a book?
Book. Book as a media in general, I think is becoming less and less popular. Just to put that out there. Books I think are very good in general, but in terms of how can I say? Like, of course, ebook and Kindle and this kind of thing.
Audiobooks are huge.
It seems to be over here in Japan, of course, books are very, very popular and publishers and publishing is still very much paper-based. We have newspapers. They sell newspaper subscriptions. It's very old school here. I mean, we use fax machines, right? So, and we have stamps instead of signatures that everybody has to stamp their signature on, hanko. So I think if I was ever going to, do something, writing a book is something that I really want to do, but I'm kind of in two minds about the media in general. Yeah. However, a book, yes, I would love to write a book. I'm just not sure who would buy it or what I would write about. But I do have ideas and many, many requests all the time for people saying, write a book about the different arts that you've tried or what you thought of them or this kind of thing. Yeah, it's in the back of my mind all the time. But yeah, I'm just not sure how I could produce something that would really be good and serve people and help them and be practical, because that's what I would really want to do the most, I guess.
Okay. Well, if you ever do, let me know. I will definitely promote it for you and hopefully get you
thank you.
readers. So I'm a huge book person myself. I used to read a book a week until I started my podcast. Now I've read 2 books in like 5 years. So I'm so busy with my podcast.
Oh, yeah, same. I have a massive bookcase behind me here. It's like filled with books, but they're all reference books mostly.
Nice.
So just for, when I publish or when I write, social media posts and this kind of thing, of course, books and references and sources are very, very, very important. So yeah, I have a lot, but I only use them when I'm writing stuff.
That's okay.
For social media usually.
So over your martial arts journey, is there one philosophy that you've learned or developed that is really important to you as at the top of your list?
Martial arts philosophy, I have a couple of Japanese sayings. So one is shoshin. Shoshin is like beginner's mind.
Okay.
And shoshin basically means that, especially with Kyudo, no matter how far along you are in your journey on martial arts, Kyudo is difficult to master in a lifetime. So you're constantly fixing up your technique, and you're changing your technique, refining, improving, but always being open to learning new things is the idea of beginner's mind or shoshin. So always being open, basically. And, if someone gives you critical advice about how to fix different parts of the different techniques of the martial arts that I learn, always open to that, and open to learning new things, open to people's advice. Just being kind of like, some people, they get closed off at a certain level of experience, and they don't want to hear what other people have to say or take in new ideas. Things like with Kyudo, shoshin kind of pertains to the kind of one that I can think of off the top of my head as different schools of Kyudo exist in Japan and overseas, and they do things different ways.
Okay.
And these different schools in different ways. Some schools of Kyudo wear tabi, or the white. They look like socks, but they're a little bit different. But yeah, the big toe and the rest of the toes are separated.
Yep.
Some schools wear tabi. Other schools are barefoot. And here in Japan, you don't really see barefoot a lot, just related to the traditional culture.
Okay.
They say, barefoot Kyudo is like dirty, or it's weird, or it's like kind of rough, it's unrefined, this kind of thing. Just feeling some sort of a way about a different Kyudo school. But we're all both practitioners, and it's nice to be open and accepting of others, I think, as well. So when first trying different martial arts, don't be kind of like put your judgment aside, I think, is part of it, and just be open to learning new things. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. The other one that really comes to mind is nanakorobi yaoki, which means fall 7 times, get up 8. And it's sort of about persevering and having resilience, building mental resilience through continued okeiko or training. Nanakorobi yaoki is really kind of how I live my life, and never give up sort of a mentality.
That's a good
no
one.
matter what. Yeah, no matter what people say, obviously taking in what people are saying and listening to it, critical advice and this kind of thing. But, not giving up, or basically being persistent. And even though the road is very long, especially with Kyudo, you don't really feel mega, like big improvements day to day. Over time, for example, the space of 8 years, looking back on different videos of the way that I used to shoot and how I shoot now, I can see massive differences. So it's just that persistence and going through difficult times, maybe in my personal life or private life, but still coming to Keiko and just persisting. Basically, it's really paid off over time. So yeah, nanakorobi yaoki and the idea of shoshin is kind of two things that are aspects that are quite important for me, I think.
Nice. I'll have to do some checking. I don't know if there's any Kyudo schools anywhere near me. I'll have to go online and do
Everybody
some research.
always says that, but usually there are. Yeah, so 27 countries around the world, I think, have Kyudo. America, Canada, really the ones with the most. Yeah, it's there are many different schools of Kyudo in Canada and America. So you kind of have to do your research.
I literally just Googled, and the 2025 International Kyudo Federation American Seminar is hosted in Minnesota. Kyūdō, sorry. Yeah.
Kyūdō, no problem.
Yeah, in Minnesota. Literally 3 hours from my house.
Oh, wow. 3 hours.
So I'll have to find out.
That's not that close.
Well, for Minnesota, it's not bad.
Oh, really?
I drive. I used to drive 3.5 hours once the third Sunday of every month for a meetup, a get together, for another hobby of mine. And I used to do that all the time, year round, winter, summer. So
definitely, I think the Minnesota folks are really nice. If you're ever wanting to go there, just let me know and I'll link you guys up. But definitely, even once, if you can go visit and just have a look to kind of just see, it's always different when you see it in person than online and videos and that kind of thing. But you can kind of just get an idea for the feeling, and then if they let you try, then you can really get an idea of the difficulty.
Definitely. Like I said,
especially if you do archery. If you do recurve archery, you'll be like, what is this, man? It's so weird. Yeah.
I'm going to contact them because they're about an hour from my mom's house. So
nice.
I will definitely reach out and introduce myself. And
wonderful. Yeah. Say that Jess sent you.
I will do that for sure. Absolutely. So with the martial arts training you've done over the years, have you had any injuries? Like, I don't know if you've like fallen off a horse. What kind of injuries do you get with those styles?
Yes, I have. So totally unrelated to the martial arts that I do. However, they've impacted my keiko or my training. Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned right at the start, my daughter, she cannot walk and it needs to be carried everywhere. And our house is like 3 stories with her bedroom on the 3rd story, living room on the 2nd. So when we come home, school bus, I got to pick her up, carry her, and she's like 20 kilos. So I did for a while have her with one arm kind of on my hip and carrying her school bags on the other arm. And as she got heavier and heavier, I damaged my shoulder to the point where I couldn't raise my arm. And I was like, I've never hurt myself before physically like this. And it was like, wow, what did I do? What happened? And of course, the doctors are very good, did an MRI, got a shot to help me take the pain away. But basically, I was stuck not doing Kyudo. I think I kind of pushed myself a little bit. So they were like, do not touch a bow. And I was like, okay, sure. Secretly. But 2 weeks, I think, and that's the longest I've ever taken off Kyudo. But they gave me great stretching exercises and activities. And they just said the way you are carrying your child has basically done this to you. So I swapped over to the other shoulder, and guess what happened? Over time, I damaged the other one, but not as severely. So I knew, and I had experience of how to rehabilitate myself from the first time. It was really interesting figuring out how to do rehabilitation, and I coordinated with my sensei. I have this thing called a makiwara at home, and it's short range shooting. It's a short range target. It's 1 meter away, and I have this at home. So it meant that, when I felt like I was okay, I got a very, very, very weak ball and would just go through the motions very lightly and gently, slowly building up the muscles again over time, making sure that I wasn't in pain with each increase in draw weight until I got to the point where I could return to the dojo and shoot a much weaker bow. But this is probably going on 3 years now. But it was a very, very interesting and humbling experience. Thinking, you're kind of invincible, where your daily life really impacts on your Kyudo practice. And as my child gets bigger, so she's 11 now. So as she gets bigger and I still have to carry her, I use really much better technique in lifting, damaging, it's possible to damage lower back and lifting out of the bath and this kind of thing. So good advice for people is if they are doing jobs that are physical in their daily life, to just be mindful of the way that their posture, and be mindful of how they're doing their jobs, because it does have the potential to impact their training in a negative way. Sometimes if you injure yourself on the job, your hobby, your passion, this thing that you have that, to get away from the world. You can't do it suddenly. It's very depressing and kind of sad. So always to be kind of mindful of how your work life or your private life, your physical, the way you use your body there can impact your training. It really made me aware of that. So now I'm very careful.
That's good.
At home.
That's
good.
Yeah. So who are like 3, 4, 5 names you'd put on your personal Mount Rushmore of martial arts? Way up there, just that you really look up to, admire.
Oh man, it changes day to day.
So does mine.
My own sensei, yeah. I keep meeting amazing people. My own sensei, who is Hachidan in Kyūdō, and he's very highly ranked in the Koryu style of Kyūdō, which is called Honda-ryu. I won't name him because he's a very, very private guy, but he is basically the person who I look to for anything related to my Kyūdō technique, and also not really daily life kind of advice, but more the traditional side. He knows everything about samurais, everything about equipment, the whole history of every piece of equipment, the development of Kyūdō over time. Like, he's a walking encyclopedia. So he is one person who would go on my Mount Rushmore. The other person is Kurosu Ken sensei, and he is a sensei who does Heki Insai Ha, and a sensei for my Koryu practice in Insai Ha. And he travels all around the world, and he teaches and posts on Facebook every day. He's 70, but he is the most active and amazing, wonderful, warm, friendly guy, sensei, that you could meet. And he is my Kyūdō dad. So he's like a father figure, a senpai, a mentor, and a sensei for me. The other person who I haven't actually met yet, but as a fellow New Zealander living and working and teaching in Japan, Alex Bennett is a very famous, kendo, but also naginata, jukendo, tankendo. He does like numerous martial arts. He's a very kind of someone that I look up to as a New Zealander living a very long time, a respected martial arts practitioner here in Japan. He's published numerous amounts of books. So we get back to the book thing. And no offense to him publishing books, because books are good, I think, but he's just very, very accomplished. He's a university lecturer, and he's been on TV. He's just a really highly respected guy, and the way that he goes about his different activities and the impact that he's made on the different martial arts that he both teaches and practices in, umpires, and, goes to seminars overseas, this kind of thing. He is also someone who I highly respect. Nice. And I hope to meet in the near future. We're in different parts of Japan. So unfortunately, we haven't linked up yet, but maybe in the future sometime.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's one other person who I have met several times and who I highly, highly respect, but don't really know on a personal level, because they're someone who has taught me a little bit, and I have had tutelage for Reiho, which is the samurai art of etiquette, is Kiyomoto Ogasawara sensei, and he is the next in line for the soke, to be the soke of Ogasawara-ryu, which is a school of Kyūbajitsu, which is mounted archery, Reiho, which is a samurai etiquette, and Kyujutsu, which is archery. Wow. So there's this whole samurai school of over 400, perhaps 50 years, and he is the same age as me. However, this lineage, it's always the father and the son that have been teaching for years on end. I've had the honor to be sometimes working together with him. They are in the media a lot and explaining and introducing different parts of their school and their culture to people overseas. Sometimes with lessons that I have in Reiho. Just the numerous times that I've had to interact with him have been really, really amazing. Can I say he has aura? Like, he has this aura. Like, his aura is times like 10,000 compared to mine. He's been practicing Kyūdō and kyujutsu, so samurai mounted archery, since he was 3, and he's now my age. So if you can imagine, he just a very, very impressive and amazing person. And he has this poker face that he keeps. He's very stoic. And very refined and, like, can I say elegant? For a man, it's kind of a weird thing to say. Walking, the way he walks, the way he holds himself, the way he carries himself, always in kimono and hakama. It's very, very beautiful. The way he presents, the way he explains things are so easy to understand and very elegant at the same time. The way that he is open to explaining different aspects of the school, even to outsiders, it's really like warm without being overly friendly, can I say? But yeah, a person that I really think is amazing and highly respect. So I think that's 4 people. Yeah. I hope that's enough.
No, that's enough. That's good. That's good.
Okay,
all right. These last few questions you may or may not have an answer for. We'll see. But I know you said you have a big bookshelf. So do you have a favorite martial arts book? Have you read many martial arts books?
Yes. So let me just go grab it. My favorite martial arts book. Let me just see if I can find it, because I forget the author. Okay, so the book is called Kyūdō, and it is in English. And the longer title is called The Essence and Practice of Japanese Archery.
Okay.
And let me just put my glasses on one time, because I'll give the authors Hideharu Onuma and Dan and Jackie De Prospero. Okay. So Dan and Jackie De Prospero they're American Kyudo practitioners, and they're very big in the American Kyudo Renmei, or Federation of Kyudo for America. But they, together with Hideharu Onuma Sensei, they've produced this book called Kyūdō, The Essence and Practice of Japanese Archery. And the reason that I like it is for someone who's never done Kyudo before, but even for someone like me that has been doing Kyudo for 8 years, I can read this book and learn new things every time, no matter how many times I've read it. So for a beginner, someone who's never tried Kyudo before, it gives the history of Kyudo, the way that, for example, just to show a picture, the way that a Kyūdō is set up. There's beautiful illustrations and explanations of everything, how to tie a bowstring, how to actually perform the different kata, the hasetsu of Kyudo. And then my favorite, which I've been referring to recently many, many times over the last couple of weeks, is the thing with Kyudo, the arrow placement in regards to the target, which is 28 meters away. The reasons for example, if you miss and it goes left, if you miss and it goes above, if you miss and it goes right, the reasons for this are given in this book in a visual way that is very, very easy to look and understand, because the issue with missing is the reasons for the arrow going right. There are about 5 or 6 reasons.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, possible reasons. So you have to go through these different things with each arrow and try to find out what you were doing wrong.
Wow.
So having a visual guide as an experienced practitioner, because sometimes you forget, like, oh, why is the arrow going below the target again? Like, you kind of remember 2 or 3 reasons why, but there's always the other 4, 5, or 6 that you forget. So it's nice to be able to have a visual reminder. But the book is very well balanced and useful for people who are just interested in getting started, and even experienced practitioners. So that's the reason why it's my favorite.
Nice. I might have to add that to my list just to check it out. That's cool. All right. Definitely. How about a favorite martial arts video game? Ever got into video games?
No.
Never? That's okay. A lot of my guests have it.
I prefer to do it in real life. Video games like Street Fighter. It was like in high school, probably. It was about the amount that I ever did. And then
That's okay.
but yeah, Street Fighter was cool, but not really martial arts. I don't know.
That's okay. How about a favorite martial arts TV show?
There weren't really any in New Zealand.
Okay.
So And in Japan, I mean, there are martial art related TV shows. And actually, Alex Bennett Sensei, the Kendo, New Zealand Kendo Sensei that I mentioned, he's on some of them, and they're in English. With a TV station called NHK World. And anybody can watch that if you look up NHK World. And he would be on a martial arts TV show in English, introducing different Japanese martial arts. And I think probably the archives are available. I forget the name of the TV show, but it's always really, really good, introducing different martial arts. Sometimes he's also on a Japanese one, which I forget the name because they don't. It's irregular, so they don't show it every week. But martial arts related TV shows are very, very few and far between, even in Japan.
Okay, no problem.
But, yeah.
All right.
I'll send you the link for the NHK one in English, though, if I can find it.
Definitely. How about a favorite martial arts movie?
I don't know. Nah, I mean, I guess it's not Japanese martial arts, but Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and it's not really martial arts, really. I know that it's based on martial arts, but there's a lot of wire action and that kind of thing.
A lot of people like that movie.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is pretty amazing, I think. But yeah, movies in general, I prefer like action movies over like romantic comedy and this kind of thing. So like Ronin, I don't know if you know the movie Ronin, or Point Break, when they're robbing banks and surfing. The
original Point Break or the remake?
Yeah, original Point Break with Patrick Swayze.
Thank you.
Patrick Swayze. Yeah. And Keanu Reeves. Yeah, he's such a badass. And Matrix. Anything with Robert De Niro, they're, just, I mean, Tokyo Drift was pretty cool. Fast and the Furious. I really like Japanese cars. I really like drift. Not related to martial arts at all, but also employs a kind of delicate technique that, something that started in Japan and has become popular all around the world, which I think is really amazing too. Not related to martial arts, but I'll just throw that in there. So I do have a really big interest in Japanese cars as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of it,
that's
I think, good ones in terms of movies.
You actually might have a good answer for the final question here. This one doesn't have to be a martial arts movie. Any movie you've seen in your whole life, a favorite movie fight scene. Any kind of fight scene. And people pick like Rocky, people pick superhero movies.
Man, to be honest, I haven't watched a movie in about 10 years.
Wow.
More than 10 years. Yeah, just having kids. I am on Netflix, but I'm watching like short true crime and that kind of thing.
Okay.
I haven't gone to a movie theater for years and years and years and years. So yeah, nothing comes to mind, but I believe Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yep.
Jet Li. Who was he fighting? Man, I can't remember, but it was badass. Sorry to not be able to give anything specific.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, car chases and fight scenes are always really cool. I love.
Definitely. I like that. All right, before I let you go, is there anything I forgot to ask you or just last minute parting words you want to get out there really quick?
Not really, but I am on all social media platforms as Jess in Tokyo.
Okay.
So that's JESSTOKYO, Jess in Tokyo. And I've been living here 22 years. So if anybody ever wants advice about Japan, or they're looking for a specific martial art in their country and they are having difficulty finding or figuring out how to start, Kyūdō in particular, I get messages very, very often asking me, how do I start Kyūdō? I'm always open. My DMs, especially on Instagram, are always open to people who would just like advice or support. I'm always available, ready and willing to help out. Recently, I have been putting a little bit more time into my YouTube channel. It's the area of my social media that gets the least love, unfortunately. Okay. I have just started re-uploading videos there, and a lot of it is Kyūdō related, though. Again, it's under the Jess in Tokyo username. But yeah, if you're ever visiting Japan, you'd like to try Kyūdō, you'd like to try this or that in Japan with a Japanese teacher, you can always reach out to me and I'll do my best to kind of link you up with some people that can help. Of course, horseback archery, you can try too. They'll let you do it on the first day. You can shoot a bow on a Japanese horse, and they have lessons in English. So just reach out if anybody's ever interested. That's the kind of thing that's difficult to kind of do anywhere else, I think, around the world. So yeah, specifically, if you're ever in Japan and you want help, just reach out to me. That's kind of it.
Nice. And I will put links for all your social and everything once the episode comes out.
But thank you so much.
Seriously, this has been such an amazing time. I love your story. Such a cool story, such a cool background, and hopefully you'll get to try Taekwondo someday.
Yeah. My legs will be dying, but
that's right. But seriously, this has been so much fun, and I think the listeners are really going to love this interview.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful to talk to you.
Wrap up today's episode by taking your own training to the next level with Martial Theory by Steve Perlman, the book that's redefining martial arts thinking. Find Martial Theory on Amazon today. Join the worldwide movement at martialtheoryu.com, where you'll find Q&A sessions, live events, and direct guidance from Steve himself. Use code EverydayMA for 20% off for life. That's martialtheoryu.com, code EverydayMA. Thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist. We hope you will join us every week for a brand new episode with a different martial artist telling their story. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave us a review. Also, be sure to check out our website at everydaymartialartist.com. There you can find all of our episodes and contact us to suggest guests and ask questions. Again, thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist, and we'll see you next week.